Welcome to A Leader's Journey, the podcast for leaders who deeply believe there is a better way to lead and desire to create their unique journey towards becoming a legacy leader. I'm your host, Shannon Hammond. Over the last 20 years as a corporate leader and leadership performance coach, I've learned that many leaders believe there is a predefined path they have to follow and struggle leaning into their unique gifts that will create lasting impact and fulfillment. They end up feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in the day-to-day of their role, and are challenged with why, since they have experienced success in their career and in life. I'm here to help leaders think through their leadership journey, learn how to ask themselves better questions, and learn the formula to create their leadership journey by design. If you are ready to design your unique leadership journey, lead with confidence, and love the teams you lead, then you are in the right place. Let's do this. Hello, my friends and fellow leaders. I'm glad to have you back here with me this week on the podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. I know that your time is valuable, and I'm grateful that you have chosen to spend some of it here with me today. On the podcast this week, we are going to talk about energy and 4 common energy blocks that show up and hold leaders back from taking action, exploring future opportunities, and ultimately impacting their ability to achieve their goals and reach the level of success that they desire. We are all energy in our physical beings and mental beings. Energy impacts everything in our life. It impacts our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. How we show up or don't show up in each situation of life. Energy is everywhere, and it's important that we understand how it impacts us. Albert Einstein has a great quote, and he said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot help but get that reality." So that helps us see that energy can help us move forward and achieve our goals, or it can hold us back and keep us from reaching our fullest potential, not just in leadership, but in our life. Like most everything, this doesn't just apply to your leadership. It also applies to your life. It all overlaps. So today I want to share with you 4 types of energy blocks that might be holding you back or getting in your way of achieving your goals, advancing in your leadership, or even getting that first promotion into leadership. Regardless of where you are, it's important for you to understand these blocks, how they might be showing up for you, and how you can shift your energy to get the results that you desire. In my coach training program, we studied these blocks to get a better understanding of what might be coming up for our clients. In working through them, I started to see where these blocks had come up for me as well. It was very eye-opening, and I hope that this helps you too. As you listen to these blocks, I ask that you set aside judgment or blame that might be coming up for you and just listen. We are all human, and each of us experiences these blocks at different times in our lives. Even when you work through one of the blocks, it may come back up in a future situation. This is all normal and will happen to all of us. So listen with curiosity and a learning mindset, and observe what comes up for you, as that might be an indicator where you have an energy block that might be holding you back. All right, let's dive in. So our first block that we're going to talk about today is limiting beliefs. So what is a limiting belief? Well, it's a thought, an idea, or a belief that you believe about yourself, others, your team, etc., that holds you back or keeps you from achieving what you want in your leadership and in life. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be about you. It's just something that you believe. In leadership, it could sound something like being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, or you can't be successful if you don't work long hours, or one of my favorites is I always have to be available for my team. If you hold a limiting belief around your leadership, or just leadership in general, you'll tend to lean into that belief, which could keep you from moving forward, attempting something new, missing out on an opportunity that you really wanted to pursue, or you just might not put that much energy into that particular area. An exercise that you can do to work through your limiting beliefs around leadership or any area in life that you choose is start with a list and start writing them all out. Then identify whether that belief serves you or if that belief limits you. For the beliefs that limit you, work through how true that is for you, where it came from, and anything else that might be coming up around that particular belief. This is a really great exercise to partner on a coach with as well, because they can help you work through and identify some of those limiting beliefs that you might not see. I would also encourage you to think about what it is that you have not yet achieved or an area that you might be hesitating in taking action on, and see if there's a limiting belief that comes up for you that might be impacting your progress in that particular area. A lot of times when we look back on what we haven't done, that's where we can find some of those limiting beliefs. Again, they might be hard to see at first, so really dig deep and separate what is truly a fact from what very well may be a limiting belief that's getting in your way. Our second energy block is interpretations. These are the thoughts and opinions that you create about a specific situation, event, or experience. I like to refer to these as the stories that we tell ourselves. Whenever something happens, we develop a story about it that's based on our point of view and perceptions. This is just our point of view or one interpretation of the situation. There will be many other interpretations that will exist. Once we've told ourselves our story, we tend to overthink and overanalyze what happened and look for evidence that supports our interpretation, which just adds more fuel to the fire and furthers our belief in the story that we told ourselves. Our interpretations will block our ability to see all possibilities and could cause us to feel like there is nothing that we can do about it and keep us in those low levels of energy. To challenge our interpretations, ask yourself, what's another way to look at that? Or you could ask, what would another person perceive of this situation? One of the things that I like to do is going out and actually asking another person, preferably one that wasn't involved in that particular experience that I had, what their perspective would be or what questions they would ask to learn more about it. It helps me in getting another point of view and more easily seeing something through somebody else's eyes, especially if I feel like I'm really stuck in what it is that I'm seeing or my interpretation of that situation. Now, the biggest key to this and to making it successful is to truly listen and hear what they have to say and lean into that their perspective is true about that particular situation, so that way you can really see how they are seeing it. All right, our third energy block that we're going to dive into today is assumptions. So assumptions are the belief that because something has happened in the past, it is automatically going to happen again. Since assumptions involve a personal experience of ours, it makes assumptions more personal than limiting beliefs or interpretations. When you believe you already know something won't work, or you failed at it before, you are less likely to try it again. And if you do try it, you are going to bring that low energy into that situation, so you won't put the energy and effort or be as committed as you could be to making it successful. This causes you to miss out on possibilities and not step into new experiences. Assumptions can show up for leaders as not getting offered a role, so they don't apply again. Or if they do, they bring that low level of energy into the interview, so you don't show up as strongly as you could. It could also be that assuming that because an employee on your team missed a deadline once, that they will always miss deadlines. Now, assumptions are harder to work through because of the personal nature and experience that you had, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done. If you truly desire to challenge your assumptions, you can. Now, the best question I have found to ask yourself in these situations is, just because this happened before, why does it need to happen again? Now, the trick, you need to answer it honestly. Take the time to contemplate your answer and start with an answer of that it doesn't need to happen again. You need to start shifting your brain to believing other possibilities exist in order for you to actually think differently. You can also think back to situations that went well and you achieved the outcome that you were looking for. Analyze those situations to determine what worked well, why it worked, what strengths of yours did you leverage, and how can you apply all of that to the current situation that you are facing. Give yourself some grace, though, as you work through challenging your assumptions. It won't be easy at first, and you need to have faith that you can work through it. And know that I'll be here encouraging you and cheering you on as you do. All right, so far we've discussed limiting beliefs, interpretations, and assumptions. So now it's time to go into our fourth and final energy block. And this is that inner voice that is inside all of us, the one that tells us not to go for it, don't take the risk, you're not good enough, and to play small. In my coaching training, we call these gremlins, and I like to call them your shadow self or your inner critic. Now, this is the most personal and intense of our energy blocks because it's all about you. And more than likely, that little voice has been with you your entire life. It can be really hard to not listen or to tune out your shadow self. And even when you can tune it out, sometimes you don't, or you won't even move forward because in the back of your mind, you've already determined that success is not possible because of that inner critic sitting in there. Now, our inner shadow voice, it tells us that we are not good enough, that we don't have enough experience, we don't deserve success, or that others will find out that we are not as good as we think we are. Now, when our inner shadow voice is at work, fear is going to show up. This has come up multiple times for me throughout my leadership journey in life, and it still comes up today as I'm taking my leadership to a whole new level. Now, you can quiet that inner voice that is inside. You can overcome it and work through it. So let's talk about how you can work through your shadow voice. Now, the first thing that you need to do is identify what it's telling you and when it comes up for you, because it's going to be different for each person. After you've identified it and when it comes up, then determine exactly what is it saying to you. So that way you are clear on what that message is. Now, this step will require thought over time, and this is a great step to journal and contemplate about and really make sure that you're digging deep and thinking through what it is. Now, for some people, they will know and it will immediately pop up for them because again, this is a voice that has been with you through your entire life, so you may be very clear who that inner critic is and what they're telling you. Lastly, you can determine something to say back to it to quiet its voice a little bit. It could be something as simple as, I appreciate your guidance and I've got this. Sometimes I have to get a little bit more aggressive and tell my shadow self to sit down and be quiet because it's getting too loud and I need the room within my brain to be able to think. All right, those are our four energy blocks that might be holding you back or getting in your way from achieving your goals or showing up as the leader that you desire. Now, I encourage you to take intentional time to think through these energy blocks. Go back and listen to this episode multiple times if you need to, and identify how they may or may not be showing up for you. This is a great time to break out your journal, and maybe you create a specific section in your journal that's just for each of these energy blocks. So you can look back over time and see how they are showing up for you, how they might be holding you back in certain scenarios, and what you've done that's worked to overcome them and what you've done that hasn't worked to overcome them. You could also include and explore how these blocks might be impacting your success formula. This is a great time to also revisit your success formula and include aspects in it that support you in reducing and overcoming your energy blocks. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what a success formula was, take a listen back to episode number 8, where I reviewed this and share with you what my specific success formula is. And if journaling is something that you are hesitant about or new to, or maybe just want to learn how you can get started or restarted, take a listen to episode number 20, where I discuss the benefits of journaling and share with you some of my favorite tools for journaling. I will link both of these episodes down in the show notes so that you can easily find them, so make sure that you go down there and take a look. I appreciate you tuning in this week and spending some of your time with me. I hope that you found this episode valuable and now have a better understanding of how your energy might be getting in your way and holding you back from your goals and being the leader you desire. Until next time, my fellow leaders, lead with confidence and show up every day as the leader you are striving to be. Thanks for listening to A Leader's Journey podcast. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're excited to learn more, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in next week for another exciting leadership lesson. I'd love to help you level up your leadership, achieve the goals you desire, and design your unique leadership journey. So click the link in the show notes to schedule a free Level Up Your Leadership session. During this time, we will define where you are in several key areas of leadership, where you desire to be, and how you can level up your leadership. You don't need to do this alone, so let's chat today and get your journey started. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn or in the A Leader's Journey community on Facebook, and share this episode with another leader so we can all learn and grow together. That's all for this episode, and I'll see you next week. Until then, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader you are striving to be, and make the decision today to level up your leadership this year.